So now that you have been growing to the social media, you want to convert your followers into clients, but still you're very confused about all the namings like WordPress, Hocus, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. Well, don't worry. In this video, I will talk about the host providers and a few things you need to look up upon deciding which one is the best for you. Things like design, domain, user flow, pricing, speed, security, and scalability. Part 1, domain. The domain is very important because if you search domain name like mygreatidea.com, you can very soon figure out it can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's very important to go and search the name of your domain first. So now talking about the user flow is the most important part of your website because it's where you're gonna map the customer journey, but also you're gonna set what the customer expectations into your website, what they're looking for into your website, and the most important actions you want your customers to take, which could be subscribing to a email list or buying your product. The categories are clear for them, how easy it is for the customers to buy your product, and ask friends and family to test your product. So as you can see over here on Wix, we have the few options of templates and plans, the Lite, the Core, the Business, and the Business Elite. So the Lite will cover 2 collaborators, 2 gigabytes of storage space, a light marketing suite, and a free domain for 1 year. That would be mostly recommended for people who just want to have a website where people can just see some photos and probably contact them by email. So that would be the best. The Core, you have 5 collaborators, 50 gigabytes of storage space where you can put blog posts and more info about your business. And you have a basic marketing suite as well, and also 1 year free domain. You have basic site analytics like how many views, user retention into your page, and also it lets you accept payments. Let's say if you want to sell something to your website as well, and the basic e-commerce. And the business is everything I've said before, but of course a little bit better, right? Like a standard marketing suite, a standard site analytics, and a standard e-commerce. Probably they give you more features, more options, where you can put discounts, coupons, and the Shopify plans. Shopify is mainly a e-commerce host provider. As you can see over here, they charge 1.75% plus 30 cents for any items sold in your online store. Of course, this is starting at, which means that's the minimum they can charge you. They can charge you more, but also they charge you a 2% fee over third-party payments providers like PayPal or Stripe. So WordPress has been the market for decades. As you can see over here, there's the WordPress plans, and WordPress is very customizable just like all of them. WordPress is mainly a CMS, which is content management system, and because of that, everything you want to do into WordPress, you will need to use plugins. So if you want to set up e-commerce, you will have to set up e-commerce plugins, and like Magento or WooCommerce, and well, that adds a little bit more of flexibility from one end, but also a lot of potential drawbacks in terms of you have to keep updating those plugins and also giving maintenance. So about speed, there's a few tricks and tips where I can share with you. The first one is use JPEGs instead of PNGs, because PNGs, they're double the size of JPEG. Use SVGs for shapes, icons, and logos. They usually tend to renderize faster. Avoid animated GIFs. Use popular fonts because most of the times these fonts already cache into the user's browser, which means it will render faster your website. And limit slideshows and other effects where you're rendering, and don't use too many iframes. Actually, if you can, don't use iframes at all. Similar to Google Maps. Security and scalability. First one being SSL certificate. So whenever you type HTTPS into a website that's using an SSL certificate for your domain, often update the plugins. ReCAPTCHA, which is that little icon that clicks saying I'm human. Use strong passwords, and often do backup of your website. Now let's talk about a few extras, being the first one, plugins. As you can see over here, we have Shopify email, we have the Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, Google or YouTube. Some of them are free, but with a premium plan inside, and others are paid by the first use. Now let's talk about SEO. SEO is where your website will really strive, because if you don't have a good SEO, which means having a good content, having the right analytics of your website being responsive, which means working on mobile but also working on the browser or in a tablet, what will happen is Google Web Crawler will see your website as not as good, and then you won't try to rank your website at the top of the Google search. I would recommend is always focusing on writing good content, but also always focusing on how your website metrics are. So I'll give an example over here. At the Lighthouse report, you can just type Lighthouse report and it will show any website for you. You can just put your website link there, and then once I press enter, you can see over here we have the performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO, and PWA. Usually it would be good for your website to rank off the top of Google if they have all of these, at least 80, I would say. Sometimes you can still rank, but aim higher than lower, because that will be better for your website. But also is good because at the end over here, you can see that they give you the reason why your score is that way, which means if you fix it, it will probably improve, and you also can know what you're doing correctly.